Okay.
We are live.
Good evening. Given have disappeared after starting a countdown.
We are live, coach. We are live.
We are live. That's good. I can see myself. Awesome. All right. All right. We are live. We are live. That's good. I can see myself. Awesome. Great. So, welcome. This evening, we're going to have a wonderful time discussing ideas around presence. And so, we're just going to wait for a couple more people to join in as people are piling in. Yeah, I can see that we are growing here. As soon as you join, just go ahead and tell us, say hi in the chat, and let's get to talking. So I can see that a couple of people have already joined us. We're just waiting for a few more, and then we'll get going. And they can help me uncut. Okay. Right. Yes. So yes, it's good to see you, Lady Miriam. I see you there. Wonderful. Okay, so a couple of people have already joined, and so we are going to take off. Wonderful. Thank you so much. I see you, Precious. I see you, Bina Puri there. Awesome. Good evening, everybody. Isondwa, that's Lady Kasonde. Isondwa Fashions. Wonderful. Great stuff. All right, so without wasting too much time, we are already at 8:04. So we'll get into the conversation that we're here for tonight. Now, I chose to stand tonight because I want us to walk through some of the integral elements of how to have presence whenever you're presenting something, how to make sure that you make an impact. And as the advert showed, there are two things that you need to lock into if you're going to deal with presence. Two things, right? The first thing is your visual image. Your visual image. Now, what are the elements that speak to your visual image? Your capacity to make a good impression as soon as you appear in the room is very critical. Before people listen to you, they see you. And the conversation begins at the level of people actually seeing you. So if I see you, what have you communicated to me just by the way you've presented yourself? How do you make your first impression? And so it is critical for you to know that the conversation, whether you're going to have a presentation, whether it is just a meetup with somebody, you must know that the conversation begins before even you open your mouth. A person's perception over you will start as soon as they see you. And so if you learn how to work on the elements of how you are seen, you're able to make a brilliant first impression. So what's the first thing? First and foremost, dress well. Look good. Go to the barber, do your grooming. Ensure that when you appear, people can see that you've put effort into yourself, that you like what you see when you look in the mirror. And so because of the fact that you've put yourself together well, some people in this day and age actually find stylists, people who know what they're doing when it comes to how to visually present yourself. And so you go to the barbershop, you go to the salon, make sure that you are looking your best all the time. All the time, whether you're going out for a jolt with friends, you're just having a good time, make sure you look good, represent yourself well, even in shorts, whatever the outfit, ensure that you're looking good, represent yourself well. There are statements that are made all over. You hear people say, dress to impress, or dress the way you want to be addressed. And so if you're going to walk into a corporate environment, look corporate, look the part. Ensure that as soon as people see you, their impression of you is, wow, this person looks like they are the man or the woman for the job. This person is the one we should consider. This person is the one we should look to for direction, for leadership, for impact. Look good. One of the keys and secrets that you want to know about your visual image and how you come across is understanding the distance between your earlobe and your shoulder. Your earlobe and your shoulder. This particular distance is so key because if you learn how to broaden yourself, let your shoulders lay down, relax your shoulders. What that does is you project confidence, you project certainty. And as soon as your shoulders begin to come closer to your ears, you look uncertain, you look unsure, you look like you're almost asking as you're communicating with people. But the difference is, if you broaden yourself, you take over more space, and you feel the sense that we get as soon as we see you, is that this is someone who is confident, this is someone who is certain, who understands who they are. And so, like I said, the conversation begins as soon as we see you. And so drive people's perception about you in the right direction. Let people begin to feel your power before you even open your mouth. I've already spoken about the distance between your earlobe and your shoulder. The next thing you need to know is your expression, your eye contact. The African context has taught us, at least those of us who grew up, who've been around a long time, has taught us that you don't look elders in the eye. But as the world is becoming more progressive, as you find yourself in corporate spaces, learn to be generous with your eye contact. Look people in the eye. Acknowledge them. It speaks to the fact that you are safe in your own skin. If you're going to greet and shake someone's hand, look them in the eye. Shake their hand. It is a domineering attribute. It gives us a sense of who you are. As you walk into a space, one of the most interesting things, and this is why our masterclasses exist the way they do, where we have duality. Even the way you walk says a lot about you. How you walk into a room. You can hurriedly walk in, or you can walk into a door and allow yourself to settle. You present yourself, and then you walk majestically, as people would say. You walk with authority. You are establishing yourself even before you open your mouth. As we speak about public speaking now, you understand that as you walk on stage, the gestures that you make, how you present your bodily outlook as you communicate makes a lot of sense. It adds or takes away from your presentation. So for instance, you must understand that there are gestures such as this particular gesture, the hand that this gesture I'm making now is called placator. All right. What this means is you're speaking and you're opening your arms. It's receptive, but it doesn't speak authority. Imagine I'm saying to you, this is a very important point. That's a very different statement to say this is a very important point. Two different gestures, same statement, but different impact. So your gestures, whether you're doing this, the problem with this particular gesture is it's very close to its cousin, I don't know. And so you cannot communicate authority with this particular, your palms up. And so you can do it as you're showing reception, as you're showing welcome, but now when you're establishing authority, you turn your palms and you say, I'm here because I am the person for the job. I'm here because what I'm saying to you is absolutely important. It is key for what we need to do. And that's how you lend to your presentation, by the way your body language also speaks. Now we're speaking about the first impression. That is how you use your visual stance, everything that people see about you, to establish the right first impression. Now let's say, for instance, you walk into a room and for some reason you have not given the correct first impression. Maybe as you walked in you stumbled, as you walked in you were not able to establish a certain visual attribute, a certain visual confidence. Then we come to your vocal image. How you can walk back the mistakes you have made on this side by how you speak. Now, first and foremost, I want to say this. Don't ever give yourself an uphill battle. Why should you suffer to try and now redeem your first impression by talking, when you could have started the work for your own benefit by using your visual image? And so make sure that you take into account the elements that establish you immediately. They must establish you immediately. As soon as people see you, they judge you. And so make sure that their judgment is in your favor. Make sure. Ensure that their judgment is in your favor. And so, simple things like a calm expression, a warm smile, it says a lot about you being comfortable in the room. Imagine that you're walking into an interview room, and as you walk in, the first thing you do is you smile. What that says is that you are not intimidated. You're not afraid. You've broadened your shoulders, you smile at the interviewers, and you greet them warmly. Hello, my name is Michael. I'm glad to be here. You are already establishing something that people who do not understand or people who don't know how to do that will find themselves having to work harder than you. Why? You used your visual image, a smile, how you walked in, how you dressed yourself, how you hold eye contact. You don't shy away. You're not easily intimidated. You give them generously your eye contact. That establishes you in any room, whether you're on stage, whether you're chatting to a significant other, whether you're looking to impress that young girl or to make the best impression with that young man who you are hoping will think about marrying you. Your eye contact, your facial expressions, how you listen intently, how you show that you are present wholly in the moment, visually. And so those are the elements that are the beginning of your presence. The first impression is visual. Make sure. Now, I like to tell people this, that sometimes, people make decisions about their hairstyles, about how they want to look, or whatever the case may be. Your decision must be driven by what you want to achieve. I'm going to make an example here. I'll say, in the history of Zambia, if you look back, or Africa, if you look back, it will be a miracle for you to find a president who had dreadlocks. Why is that the case? It is because your visual image is how we judge certain things about you. How you look informs how we perceive you. Yes, it might be premature. You might not be the person we think you are by the way you look, but it is an element that you and I, as we develop ourselves into masters in the areas of communication, you must know that your visual image impacts your capacity to influence people. There are people who, because of the choice of hairstyle, begin to close themselves off before you even open your mouth. And so understand that fundamentally, no matter how westernized, no matter how progressive you think people are, when you walk into certain spaces and understand the power that exists in those spaces, you will realize that how you look is the first level of your conversation. And so you need to pay attention to it. Make sure you pay particular attention to how you look. Establish authority even before you say anything. Now, let's move to visual image. Rather to vocal image. And at this point, we're going to just speak about three things. Let me be generous. Three things around your vocal image that also help you establish yourself even further. I like sometimes to stack the odds against our person. So this person that we're dealing with now is coming from a situation where, imagine you're walking into an interview and then you stumble, you fall. My goodness, that's not the best way to start. Already people are looking at you and they're wondering, is this person okay? Are they, what's wrong? Are they so nervous that they're even failing to walk? And here you are now sitting down in front of a panel, and then you have a chance to speak. Have you ever met an individual, you're looking at them from afar, and you're thinking to yourself, oh my goodness, this person looked amazing. This person seemed so confident, so powerful, until they opened their mouth. Well, when you're listening to them, you're like, wow, I liked you better before you said anything. The reason is because how you begin to paint a picture with your words either establishes the impression you have made or completely destroys it. And so you being formidable, you being powerful with your words is absolutely important. Absolutely important. You can be able to do so much by elevating your capacity to build and to paint a vocal image. So what are the things that we talk about when it comes to your vocal image? The first thing is your tone. Imagine that I had started this masterclass and this is how I was speaking. I'm so excited that you guys walked into this masterclass, that you came in and you gave us your time. We're going to speak about your visual image, we're going to speak about your vocal image, and we're going to have a wonderful time together. This is so important. And so when you walk into a room, eventually, when someone speaks like that, we call that monotone. That means there's no variety to your tonality. You are just speaking at the same point, and because your voice is like an instrument, as you're playing, imagine someone playing the keyboard and just playing one key throughout. It gets boring and it gets irritating. So what do? Your tonality must have variation. And so if I'm going to speak to you, whenever I'm talking about something that is exciting, my voice must show that. And it begins to go to a higher register. And when I want to be sober and talk about something that is important, you lower your voice. You're able to say to them, look, this is so powerful. This is so important. I want you to pay attention to what I'm talking about. And so you variate how you use your tone. You show your excitement. You say, oh my goodness, I'm so glad that you took the time to join us this evening. I am so excited because I know that what I'm talking about tonight will shape and change your journey as you go towards mastery in public speaking. And I'm going to tell you for free that if you apply these things, that if you are serious about this journey, you will indeed change your life. And so how you speak informs how people perceive you. You can sound intelligent without having said something that smart because you know how to variate your tone. You know, you go up, you go down. You go left, you go right. Let people enjoy the flavors of your voice. Now, some people might think, oh, this is how I talk. This is how I talk. Yeah, fair enough. That is how you talk. But that understanding that your voice is an instrument and it is up to you to play it will help you understand and actually take advantage of playing with your voice. If you've ever had the chance to interact with a child, a baby, you'll notice that because by nature, babies respond to the higher register. Even if you have a deep voice, you'll find that this baby's uncle, deepest voice in the world, but instead of saying, hi little one, how are you doing? How are you doing? What they do is, hi little one, how are you doing? What is that? It is because you are trying to ignite excitement in that conversation. You want to ignite a reaction. That is how tonality works. We are able to feel certain things, to move with you on the journey that you are taking us on with your voice, if you use variation in your tone. So never be monotone. Never be monotone. Use differences. Excite us. Make us sober and make us understand that this is important by how you use the tonality of your voice. The next thing is going to be the speed, the rate at which you speak. Once again, if I had walked up onto this particular masterclass and I began to say, I'm so excited that you're here. This is going to be a wonderful event. We're going to have so much stuff that we're going to do. Rihanna is going to be there. Drake is going to be there. If you continue at that pace, eventually people don't connect and don't engage because you're just speaking too fast. The same if you're just speaking too slow. I'm so happy that you are here. You know, today we're going to be able to talk about, how it is important for you to understand your visual image. By the time I'm done, all of you would have gone to bed. And so you vary the speed at which you say things in order to excite, to make us intrigued, and you slow down to make us emphasize, rather to emphasize your certain points that you want to settle with your audience. And so if I'm going to talk about, oh my goodness, this masterclass right now, as we speak about your vocal image, is going to be the one thing that will set you apart whenever you walk into the room. If you variate your conversation with speed, people will know when it is that you're bringing them in, and they will know when to pay attention, to listen, because you are speaking something that is important. You are causing a point to settle, right? And the last thing is volume. So when it comes to your vocal image, tonight we're just going to touch on these three things. First, your tone. Variate the tone. Secondly, your speed. Slow, fast. Slow, fast. Let us enjoy the journey. And the last thing is your volume. If you want to bring us to the edge of our seats, you tell us that, my goodness, I was so scared, so scared. I hid in the corner and I couldn't even make a sound. What are you doing? With your volume, you are causing us to travel into the spaces that you are taking us. We are seeing where you are boisterous. You talk about the fact that it was so loud. I was at the concert, I could barely hear myself think. And then all of a sudden, I was transported in my mind into my bedroom. I began to remember, oh, how comfortable my bed. What are you doing? With your volume, you are causing us to engage with what is happening. You are showing us where to be excited and where to pay attention, where to be sad with you, because you can't be sad and loud. Sadness speaks to quietness. Loneliness requires silence. So those are the things that help you paint an accurate picture as you are speaking. Your tone, your speed, your volume. By the time we are done listening to you as you share with us, we are established with your presence. We understand you better. As well, listening to someone who came into the room. So for instance, I want to play out something now. Imagine that you're walking on stage. And you walk on stage, you're well dressed. People, as you're walking on, are whispering to themselves, wow, I mean, I like his suit. It's a brilliant suit. And then you stand at the center of the stage and say, the one thing I'm going to talk about today will change your life. And then now I want you to observe the things we have spoken about. As we spoke about visual image, we spoke about your gestures. We spoke about your facial expressions, how you show yourself, how you hold the gaze and are generous with your eye contact. And then we spoke about how that you can use movement intentionally. You can walk to communicate power. You can enter a room, square your shoulders, and be able to establish a certain level of dominance, that you're not intimidated to be there, that you're happy to be there because of how you have postured yourself. So your posture. So this is our guy, he's on stage. And he said, the one thing I'm going to talk to you about is going to change your life. But as I speak about this one thing, this thing we call presence, I'm going to lean on two elements. The first thing I'm going to talk to you about is called visual image. That talks to how you and I look. I want to tell you today that people judge you first and foremost by how you look. And so no matter what it is that you are presenting, understand that the perception of the audience begins before you say anything. And so the first thing you must work on is your visual image. The second thing is your vocal image. How that works is that you are able to paint pictures with your voice. Your voice is an instrument that if you learn how to play effectively, you can truly make sure that people experience you effectively. So, while we speak about your vocal image, I will lean on three elements. The first thing is your tone. Vibrate. Make sure that you are not monotone, you're not boring. Engage us actively by varying your tone. The second thing is your speed. Speak not only at one speed, engage and take us on a journey. Let us feel your moments. Let us feel your expressions by varying your speed slowly when you want us to lean in and quickly when you want to excite us. The third and the last thing is your volume. If one says to you, I'm so excited, I'm so happy that you're here, the question you'll ask them is, are you sure? But if someone says to you, I'm so excited that you are here, they are not only using their voice to say it, but the volume and the way they're expressing it tells you that indeed this person is excited. And if someone is sad, they'll tell you, look, I don't want to talk too much. I don't want to say anything. I'm just not happy today. And in their volume, you can pick the fact that the emotion requires a certain response from you. Now, that is a presentation that someone has given us, right? Imagine then that I walk in again, same guy, he walks on stage, and I'm so glad to be here. I'm going to talk to you guys very, very briefly about one I think that is very, very important. This thing, I think it will change your life. I'm sure that it will change your life. I'm actually very, very confident that your life will change because of what I'm talking about today. And so I want you to know that I'm going to talk about two things that will ensure that you understand the power of how you can create presence, right? Your presence is going to be determined by two things, your visual and your vocal image. Your visual image will do this. It will make sure that when people see you, they judge you well. And your vocal image, when they hear you talk, it's going to establish you and make you authoritative. Now, here's the thing. These two guys are speaking the same thing, but the impact of their presentations will be determined by, first and foremost, understanding visual image. And so let's take a little bit of a journey looking at these two guys, right? The first thing is, if you notice, you can use your gestures, you can use your postures to establish what you are talking about. Our first guy, the example showed that you can say, I'm going to talk about two things. The first thing, and what you do with that one movement, you establish authority. You also anchor your audience. You have moved with intention. You are talking about the first thing. And so they know that, oh, okay, we've moved to the first thing. And then you say the second thing. You are moving with intentionality. You are anchoring the audience journey. So much so that at the end of your presentation, you can come back and say, so remember the first thing, and they will move with you. And you have anchored them to the point where your presentation is laying eggs enough for them to remember you. So using your visual prowess, the tools that are available to you when you are talking, establishing authority, this is critical. How you say that and how you label, you encourage them to anchor because of how you are saying it, how you are presenting visually, and how you are lending to that conversation with your gestures. If you're just going to talk and your movements are not aligning with everything that you are saying, you are distracting us. But you can use your visual image. As you stand, you are showing authority. As you talk, you are giving us and welcoming us in. And as you speak, you are establishing the standard, authority. You are establishing the point for us to understand and to be able to follow you effectively. I hope it's making sense so far. I'm seeing that there's comments, and we are having a great conversation in the chats as we go along. So these are the things that establish your presence, your visual image, and your vocal image. How you use these tools to make yourself take up more space in every engagement. Whether you're going to be on stage, whether you're going to be on a Zoom call like this, when you know what you are doing, you can establish authority in every space you find yourself in. Allow me to share a little bit about how to engage a bit more effectively, even online. There's something called proxemics. That's the study of distances. Now you imagine, you've seen that I am a specific distance away from the camera in this particular engagement. If you are about 2 meters from an individual, that's called social space. That's a safe space to engage with. And what that does, if you're going to speak from the social space, it gives you the advantage of being seen, using your hands, using your gestures. And so you are able to establish a lot more authority because of that. If you move closer, and how most people appear on Zoom is in a space called personal space. So imagine you're opening your Zoom and immediately the person is right there. Okay, the immediate reaction is, oh my goodness, Coach Mike is a bit close, he's right up to my face. And also what that does is that you find that you are cut in a way that does not show us whether your shoulders are squared, whether you are embracing any level of authority because you're so close to the camera. Worse still, if you come so close that the only thing we can see is your face, and that is called intimate space. That space belongs only to an intimate partner. And so understanding simple things like that will show and express and maintain the fact that you are able to communicate with someone socially. And so what we do even online is very, very important. So you find yourself on Zoom and it is an opportunity for you to present. Give yourself the chance to establish authority. Give yourself the chance to actually use your gestures a little bit. Even if you're sitting down, even if you're on a desk, you can establish these things practically in a conversation, even via Zoom. Same thing as you're doing things, whether it's a conversation with somebody. When you know what you're doing, you can be generous with your eyesight. You're not looking away. You're not looking at your phone. When you know these things, that the power of communication begins even before you open your mouth. As you're going to have dinner with somebody, put your phone away. Be generous with your eyesight. Be generous with the way you are engaging, with your body language. What that will do is before you open your mouth, you would have already opened doors for any communication that you're about to have. Right? So communication is about understanding the principles around presence, your presence, how you ensure that you paint an effective, unbreakable, unshakable visual image. And then you also paint a beautiful and amazing vocal image. I'm sure you've been able to see someone walk into a room and you're like, wow, okay. Because the way someone carries themselves, that's comedic. Vibe, vibe is you can pick it up. You can pick up someone's vibe. Confidence shows even before someone says anything. And how can you be confident? You can give the appearance, even when you're nervous, you can give the appearance of confidence by the way you carry yourself. And when you talk, you speak with such authority, such poise. It's not about perfection. It's not about the fact that you will not make mistakes, but it's about how you handle yourself when given the opportunity to speak. For those who attended the physical masterclass, there's a statement that I made, and it's a statement that we'll continue with on this journey. Preparing is not as important as being prepared. Preparing is not as important as being prepared. What that means is before I came on this particular masterclass today, I did prepare. But my preparation is based on the fact and is premised on the fact that I have been preparing before I had to do this. So the things you're listening to me talk about today are things that you must begin to take action on, practice. Not because the presentation is coming up, but practice until they become so much second nature that everywhere you go, people are able to say, you just seem so confident. Coach Mike, it seems like you make it seem so easy. Why is it that it looks like for you it's effortless? The reason is because we do not prepare for presentations. We are prepared for presentations. I hope that makes sense. That preparing is now before you are called onto the stage. Preparing is now before that opportunity comes, before that interview you are called on, you prepare. Because you understand that your communication is premised on these things being in your toolkit. Because the day will come where you are not prepared. You'll find yourself at a beach in Cape Town, and someone walks up to you and says, "Hi, how are you? Where are you from?" And from that one question, you establish yourself and you make a connection that changes your life. Why? Not because you were preparing for a conversation at the beach in Cape Town, but because you are a person who is prepared. You have been working on how you walk. You've been working on how you broaden your shoulders. You have a posture that communicates someone who is confident, someone who is calm, someone who is collected, someone who understands who they are. As you walk, you're not being rushed. You're not being hurried anywhere. You know how to walk poised. You know how to walk calm. I have a friend of mine who, for the longest time, has been telling me, no, the way you walk, you look like you're being chased. You look like someone is running after you. And so this is something that I have been working on. How to walk in a way that communicates calm. How you walk into a room. Some of the things that we study in this journey of communication would shock you. You sit down and watch videos of like our former president here in Zambia. We have a former president called FTJ, Frederick Chiluba. This was, stature-wise, a very small man, very short, but he had the capacity to be so boisterous. The way he walked, everyone was towering over him, his bodyguards and everything. But he knew how to fill a room by the way he carried himself. My goodness, you would see him stand on a podium, barely taller than that podium, but then he would speak and his voice would boom across the whole nation. How? This was an individual who had come to a place of settledness. His confidence oozed in the way he walked. He made sure he looked a certain way. Those of us who are Zambian here who know about Frederick, you will know that he used to pay attention to how he dressed. He was particular about how he appeared in public. because he had understood some of the principles we're sharing with you tonight. How to be powerful. Many of the people who ascend towards leadership, it is many a time not because they are better than you, but they have learned how to package themselves more effectively. And your packaging does not end at visual, it must also include vocal. Like I said, as I was speaking earlier, imagine you see someone and you're like, oh my goodness, you were doing so well until you opened your mouth. You were doing so well. Ah, he was so handsome until he opened his mouth. My goodness, she looked so elegant, so smart, so intelligent until she opened her mouth. Don't let that be your story. Don't allow that be the judgment of how you present yourself. Just because you've done a great job on the visual side, you must also ensure that the vocal elements of who you are speak to your power, speak to your elevation, speak to your establishment. If you can embrace and learn how to use these tools effectively, what you will see and what you will enjoy is that as you walk into spaces that are intimidating, as you find yourself in an interview for a position that you might not even feel ready for, but the way you present yourself, because in the moment, someone says, Kasonde, there is an investor who's coming through, and I know they're coming to talk about diamonds and all these things, but I would want them to have a conversation with you because I feel your ideas around fashion and that industry could be very, very intriguing to this particular investor. You have 2-3 hours to prepare. This is call came in at 10 p.m., 22 hours. You have 2-3 hours to prepare. The likelihood that you're going to be able to bamboozle, to blow this particular individual's mind is not going to be hinged on the preparation you made and did that night. It is going to be hinged on how in the moment you're able, first of all, to present yourself. And so I'm going to speak to Coach Kasonde, who is on the call. She is a designer. And now she's going to speak to someone who deals with jewels. If she's going to be effective in this particular engagement, the first thing is that as she appears, she has to appear in something that speaks to her expertise. Here is Kasonde. She walks in, she's wearing her own dress. Top tier presentation. And as she walks in, she knows that this dress is a head turner. This dress speaks to her expertise, it speaks to her capacity. And so as she walks in, the first thing people are like, oh, this is an amazing dress, well done. And as she opens her mouth, she's like, I believe that fashion is a conversation. It goes beyond what you wear to the things that you communicate to the people that see you. I believe that a statement can be made just by what you wear. Oh my goodness, okay. Okay, Kasonde, I understand you. And because of the fact that she is formidable with her words, when an opportunity was given, she was able to walk in. So these things are not about, like I said, preparing. They're about ensuring that this journey towards mastery is practical. You take the steps, you ensure that you begin to work on these things. Wear what you have well. Learn how to put things together. I'm Tonga by tribe, and you know there's a stereotype about around Tongas when it comes to colors and how we mix and match what we wear. And many a time I've been told by the people around me that I do tend to lean towards that stereotype from time to time. Hey, if you need help, find people who will be able to put and help you how to mix and match your colors. Present yourself well. You have an interview coming up. Call that friend. All of us have a friend who knows how to dress. Call that friend and say, look, man, I need to make the right impression. I need to make sure that when they see me, they are already ticking the boxes. So I want you to come help me. Let's look through my closet and let's make sure that when I walk in, they are already saying, wow, yeah, I like how Michael looked. You know, there's a way that he presented himself. The effort that he put in, it showed. You know, as he walked in, I saw how, as he closed the door, he squared his shoulders. He filled the room. There was just something about this guy that began to communicate to me, like, I want to hear what he has to say. And when Michael opened his mouth, as soon as we said, tell us about yourself, this guy was able to take us on a journey. From an interview, it became a conversation. And from a conversation, we were just ready to tell this guy, look, can you start tomorrow? Why is that the case? Why would that be the case for you? You must understand the power that you have and accentuate, bring these things out to your advantage. Make sure that your toolkit is full. Those who attended our physical masterclass, we spoke about frameworks. How that under pressure you can be able to navigate so effectively that people will think you have been preparing for that particular question or scenario. The way life is that opportunity tends to appear in the most unlikely places. And the one skill, I believe, that is the most powerful, that can account for the most progress in your life, is your communication skills. How well can you articulate yourself in the moment? How well can you present yourself in a way that makes us not look at anybody else? One of the most important elements of your communication is your presence. Your presence. Your presence makes us feel. Your presence makes us attach and relate with you in a more real way. We're able to make decisions about you just by looking at you. We live in a world, and like I said, you'll hear all kinds of conversations about being progressive, being this, being that. You must make the decision for yourself. Where are you driving your life to? What are the things that you want to achieve? If you and I are looking forward to being a CEO in the future, in a Fortune 500 company, I will tell you for free that at that level, there are certain things that are hinged on how you are able just to present yourself. Someone at that level must be confident that when I say, hi, this is Michael, and I call you, even if it's on a Saturday, they say, Michael, where are you? Are you able to come to Sarova? Are you able to come to this place? They know that you will not appear shaggy. They know that you will come, even if you're in your casual wear, they know that you understand that how you look, how you present yourself is the first level of conversation. And so even if you are appearing, you're in your shorts, it was a Saturday. You were in your shorts, you were already out. But how you appear will show that this is a caliber of individual that understands how presentation begins and how they dress in order for them to be addressed at a certain level. So what we are saying is, understand that your presence, and I love this word because presence has got so many layers to it. Presence meaning that you are here. If you don't want to be a statistic, maybe 30 people are interviewing for a job. If you don't want to be a statistic, if you want them to remember that you were present, you were there, these are the things that cause you to have weight in those situations. If you're going to stand on stage and people forget everything you said, they should still have a sense of who you are. When she walked on stage, for some reason, I felt like, oh my goodness, I had a sense of anticipation. I wanted to hear what this person said before she said anything. People need to remember you, and that's what presence does. They will remember you because when you walked on stage, you were present. You were present. And presence speaks to weight, gravity. The weight of your impact in any situation is your presence. And so if I'm going to be weighty among my peers, where when we're talking about certain things, when I stand to talk, or even if you find that you are a quiet individual, you want to get to the point where people are making discussions and they say, let's hear what Mike has to say. How do you do that? How do you solicit attention without having said anything? How do you make sure that people feel that things are not complete until Mike has spoken? Presence. That means you've registered yourself in the room by how you handle yourself. How you handle yourself. Simple things that we spoke about, even at the masterclass, the physical one, is that as people are greeting each other, hi, how are you doing? Hi, how are you doing? Hi, how are you doing? Someone says hi to Mike, and Mike says, hi, how are you doing? I'm brilliant, thank you. How are you? Everyone said, I'm fine, I'm fine, I'm fine. But you stood out simply by saying, I'm brilliant. What that does in the mind of the person who's walking around reading says that person is different. There's something to that guy. I would want to speak to him a bit more. Presence. Establishing your dominion, establishing your sense, establishing the fact that you are in the room, and making sure that you are not forgettable. Remember, when it comes to conversation, when it comes to presenting, when it comes to being a public speaker, it is not so much about what you say, it is about what they remember. Because we measure your presence by the weight of the impact you have made when you stand off, when you move away, when you get off the call, when you get off the stage. What remains as a sense among the people who have interacted with you? All right, my goodness, that is almost an hour gone. We've got 13 minutes to go, and I am looking at these wonderful comments that we've been having as we've been having this chat. I want to say thank you at this point. Thank you so much for taking the time to join us for this brief masterclass. We spoke about presence, and I want to encourage you to make sure that you sign up for our programs. We have free masterclasses every month, both physical and virtual, and you can benefit so much by making sure that you plan and find yourself at any of these particular programs. We believe in practice. We believe in the fact that this skill, this communication skill, requires a platform that allows you to train, that allows you to be in a safe space where we can help you to develop, to grow, and to establish yourself. Even as we speak about presence, these are the spaces that will help you develop your presence. As you've heard me speak about these things, we have a masterclass coming up in March. For those of you who are in the group, you already know about that. In March, free masterclass. We will share the venue. Come through, having practiced and having begun to put these things in your toolkit. And then we'll give you the platform to engage with us, to engage with an active audience that is on the same journey with you, that will help you establish yourself and grow yourself towards mastery in this journey of communication. And so for those of you who are ready to take part in our program, we have a stage program that is our cohort that's starting on the 16th of March, running all the way to the 25th of April. The 6-week program that will be starting on the 16th of March. Join us as we take a deep dive into these things and help you begin to navigate and stand out in the spaces that matter to you. Conversation and public speaking, even your communication skills, are not limited to your capacity in the corporate world, standing on stage. Communication skills are powerful even at the level of speaking to your child, making sure that you are connecting, you have deep relationships with your spouse, with someone that you are growing with your children. You want to establish the fact that as they grow, you have deep and meaningful conversations. These are the skills that help us live the best life. And so please make sure that you reach out to us over the cohort. Our cohort is running from the 16th. Like I said, it's only 1,500 kwacha, and you will jump on and we'll be able to prepare you towards mastery. And like I said, every month we have a free masterclass. Come through, sit among people like you who are growing, who are extending themselves and establishing themselves. Our dream is to see some of you being able to stand in corridors of power, giving presentations in State House, and getting to the place where you're speaking across the world because you have made yourself powerful with this one skill, developing your communication. And so thank you so much. I hope you have been helped. I know that you've picked up something important, and that as you continue to practice, I will begin to see that difference in your life and mine as we take this journey towards mastery. Shalom, shalom. Thank you so much once again. You have a wonderful evening. See you in the group. If you are part of the group already, do reach out and share your experience in the group. What was your key takeaway? If not, please reach out to our office. The number is 0977696456. There's +260 for those of you who are not in Zambia, +2609776966456, and we'll be able to help you. Our course is completely online, so even if you're not in Zambia, you are able to participate. But we do hope that if you participate in the course or you have a chance, in July on the 18th, we're going to be having what we're calling the Speakers Conference. So please, please keep your ear to the ground. For those of you who are not in the country, you can come on board, come and share this experience, listen, and also maybe take the stage to speak to a crowd of over 500 people that we're expecting to show up, and you'll be able to showcase your prowess, your growth, and your power with these communication skills that you've developed. Shalom, shalom. Thank you so much for joining us. Have a wonderful evening. See you at the next masterclass in March. Cheers.